All right, buckle up, everyone, because we're about to take a deep dive into one of the most intense chapters of the American Revolution, the Southern Theater.
Absolutely.
We've got amazing source material here, stories about the key figures, the ones who really made a difference, both on the American side and, yeah, the British side, too.
Right.
We're going to go beyond just names and dates, though.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
We're digging deep into the surprising stories and the tactics that really made the Southern Theater so unique and, honestly, so crucial to the whole, the American victory.
It really was.
Now, on the American side, we've got some larger-than-life figures.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Francis Marion, the Swamp Fox.
Always a good one.
Yeah. Daniel Morgan, an absolute brilliant military mind.
Of course.
Elijah Clarke. Thomas Sumter, the Gamecock. How cool is that nickname?
Oh, fantastic.
And Andrew Pickens.
Yep.
Each one of these guys played a critical role.
They did.
But they were up against a pretty tough opponent.
Yeah, formidable one.
Lieutenant Colonel Banastre Tarleton.
He was something else.
A British officer, super aggressive.
Yeah.
Led the British Legion. And he earned himself, well, a pretty scary nickname. Bloody Ban.
Rightfully so.
So, we've got this clash of styles, battle of wits.
A chess match of sorts.
And incredible stories of just pure bravery and resilience. Where should we even begin?
Well, I think starting with Tarleton's a good idea.
Yeah.
To really get the Southern campaign, you got to understand, his personality, his
forceful personality, we could say.
Yeah, let's go with that. Forceful.
So what made Tarleton he was really feared, right?
Oh, he was.
What made him that way?
Well, he commanded the British Legion,
Right.
which was a really unique force.
Yeah.
Cavalry and infantry together.
Combined arms.
Yeah, and that gave him speed, a lot of flexibility on the battlefield.
Yeah.
He was known for those lightning raids, super aggressive assaults.
Like blitzkrieg almost.
Yeah, and, his tactics worked. They were undeniably effective, especially in the early part of the Southern campaign.
Early on, yeah.
But they ended up being his downfall, really.
How so? How did they backfire?
Well, for example, let's look at Waxhaws.
Okay.
The Battle of Waxhaws, 1780. His forces, they crushed it, decisive victory, but they were accused of just massacring the American soldiers,
Whoa.
Soldiers who were trying to surrender.
Really?
Yeah, and this is what, got him the nickname Bloody Ban.
Right.
And I think even more important than the nickname, it really, it made people stand up against the British.
It made them mad.
Yeah, it galvanized the resistance.
Oh, it backfired.
Totally. Word got around, spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
And you had all these people who were maybe unsure about the revolution.
On the fence.
Yeah, they were like, nope, I'm joining the patriots.
This is too much.
Yeah, this is not right. So his brutality, instead of ending the rebellion, it made it stronger.
He kind of created his own enemies.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where you see the American commanders, particularly the ones who were good at that unconventional warfare, they used this to their advantage. Like, think of Francis Marion.
Oh, yeah, the Swamp Fox. I've always been fascinated by this guy.
He was amazing.
How he was so effective. He was going up against a much larger force, much better equipped.
Right.
What was his secret weapon?
Well, Marion was, he was a brilliant tactician.
Yeah.
He knew he couldn't win head-to-head.
Right.
Not a straight-up fight. So he made the swamps his battleground.
Right.
He used the terrain.
Smart.
Launched quick raids, messed up their supply lines, ambushed patrols.
Hit and run.
Yeah, and then, poof, gone. Back into the swamp before the British could even figure out what hit him.
So while Tarleton was all about, these big battles.
Right.
Show of force.
Forceful.
Marion was like, I'm going to wear you down. I'm going to chip away at your resources, at your morale.
Exactly. And it drove them crazy. They couldn't catch him.
All right.
They never knew where he'd pop up next.
The cat and mouse game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as Tarleton got more and more, that Bloody Ban reputation,
Yeah.
Marion became this, this legendary figure of resistance.
Almost like a folk hero. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So it seems like the Americans were really good at adapting to the Southern Theater.
Oh, they were?
Would you say that was one of the biggest reasons they ended up winning?
I think it was key.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the terrain, though. They figured out how to fight a different kind of war. It was different down there. Take Daniel Morgan, for example.
Okay, yeah.
Brilliant.
He's the one who outsmarted Tarleton and Cowpens, right?
He did.
I remember reading about that. It was a big win for the Americans.
Huge.
Yeah.
Cowpens was a turning point. The Southern campaign really shifted after that.
Yeah.
Morgan, he used this tactic, a double envelopment.
Oh, wow.
So Basically, he traps Tarleton's forces.
Between two lines.
Yeah, 2 lines of American troops. It really showed Morgan's understanding of, battlefield tactics and his ability to just see Tarleton's weaknesses and use them.
Yeah, exploit them.
Yep.
So we see these unconventional tactics.
Right.
Like Marion used.
Yeah.
And then, these brilliant strategic maneuvers like what Morgan pulled off.
Exactly. And it's that flexibility.
Yeah.
Americans were willing to use whatever they could.
Yeah.
Whatever worked. That's what set them apart.
It makes sense. And we can't talk about the Southern Theater without mentioning some of the other big names.
Right. There are some.
Who were crucial.
Yeah.
Kept the momentum going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Elijah Clarke.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't he a militia leader?
He was.
In Georgia?
In Georgia, yep.
I remember reading about him.
Yeah, Clarke was huge.
Yeah.
He was instrumental in, securing those victories in the backcountry of Georgia.
Right.
The Battle of Kettle Creek, 1779, that was a big one.
Was it?
Yeah, early on in the Southern campaign. It really boosted morale for the Americans in that region. It showed them the British could be beaten.
Right.
Even though the British had more men, better equipment, better training.
They were still vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's amazing how these, what might seem like smaller battles actually had such a big impact on the whole war.
Oh, totally. It's all about momentum.
Right.
Each win, big or small, it chips away at the British, at their control, and it fuels the rebellion.
Yeah, keeps it going.
And then you've got guys like Thomas Sumter.
The Gamecock.
Yeah.
That nickname.
Oh, it sticks with you.
It does.
He was relentless.
Yeah.
Just super aggressive, always harassing the British, raids, disrupting everything.
Just never giving them a break.
Nope. And he was key in battles like Hanging Rock.
Okay.
Just constant attacks.
They kept on their toes.
Oh, yeah. Kept him
Really?
guessing. And that nickname, Gamecock,
Yeah.
that really summed him up. Tough, tenacious, and that spirit it spread to his men.
It's contagious, that kind of energy.
Totally.
So we've got Marion using the terrain, Morgan outsmarting them, Clarke getting those key wins, and Sumter just constantly attacking.
Yeah.
Seems like the Americans, they knew how to pick the right leader at the right time.
They did.
Yeah.
And then you've got Andrew Pickens.
Oh, right.
Can't forget him.
No, he was in South Carolina, right?
South Carolina, yeah. He was big in organizing the resistance out in the backcountry.
Okay.
Fought in those major battles. Cowpens, the Siege of 96.
Wow.
He was a great leader. He knew how to rally those militia forces.
Yeah, get people fired up.
Yep.
So let's zoom out for a second. Look at the big picture.
Okay, yeah.
What's the takeaway? I mean, what did the Southern campaign really teach us?
I think the big lesson here is adapting.
Adapting.
The Americans, they didn't have the fancy stuff the British did.
Right.
Not the resources, not the training, but they adapted. They took on the challenge of the South, blended the conventional with the unconventional, used the terrain to their advantage, and they found the right leaders.
Yeah.
The ones who could inspire.
The ones who could get those guys to follow them.
Exactly.
So it wasn't just about winning battles. It was about
the long game.
the long game.
Wearing them down, messing up their plans, and ultimately, just making it too hard for them to hold on.
Yeah, making it too expensive to stay.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what led to the American victory.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in the South, I mean, the whole war.
The whole thing.
The Southern campaign. It might not be as famous, as some of those big battles up north.
Right.
But it was crucial, absolutely crucial to winning independence.
I wonder, if the British had been a little more adaptable, like you said, if they'd understood how to fight in the South, how to fight against these guys.
Yeah, that's the question.
Would things have been different?
Who knows?
It really makes you think.
It does.
About leadership and strategy and just plain resilience. Keep on exploring, folks. This is fascinating stuff.
It really is.
Thanks for diving in.
My pleasure.